Atención, tu revista de cine. Cada mes, toda la actualidad del cine, entrevistas, películas de estreno, fichas y reportajes coleccionables de actores, películas clásicas y series de televisión. Este mes, entrevista con Jennifer Lawrence y Elijah Wood. Además, pósters de Llamas, Loki, Arrow y Doctor Who. La revista de cine con realidad aumentada por Doing 3D.
Panama Jack.
Me gustaría que me explicara su concepto o su visión del cine de ciencia ficción y qué papel juega el juego de Ender dentro de ese esquema.
Could you explain to me your concept of science fiction cinema and what role do you see Ender's Game playing within that?
I remember when I first started to go to the cinema. When I was a kid in the north of England, we had many cinemas. A lot of them are closed now, which is sad. And we used to go on a Saturday afternoon sometimes. There'd be a Saturday afternoon matinee. And I think the films were called Flash Gordon. And they were awful. You could almost see the hand holding the rocket, and sparks would come out of it with no propulsive powers whatsoever, just like somebody stuck a firework up its hole, and this thing was going like this through the air, and all of us believed it. We all thought, wow, Flash Gordon's flying through space, really clunky. And kind of naive. And also, rather like H.G. Wells and all these people who think they can see the future, they're completely confined by their own knowledge. They have no idea about the future. If you look at Georges Méliès' versions of the future, he wouldn't have an airplane or a jet plane. He'd have a horse and carriage with wings, so he's locked into his own era, or he'd have a flying old Renault, and I think to a certain extent that still limits, it still confines science fiction if it's futuristic, and most of them are. They speculate about the future. We have absolutely no idea. It's blind speculation. If you then use a science fiction story like Ender's Game as a context to say something more humane and compassionate about the journey of a young man, or the discovery of the world as it really is by a young man, by a young adult, and put it in a science fiction context, the speculation of the future becomes less important, and his dilemma actually is the thing that's pushed to the fore. And I think what Gavin Hood is saying, I think the stronger voice in the film from Gavin Hood is not what will the future be like, but what would you do in this situation? I think that's what Gavin is saying to the audience, I think. So in that sense, I think this film probably works very well, and certainly the visual effects are magnificent. Whether or not they bear any resemblance to the future remains to be seen. People might look back, the way I'm looking back at Flash Gordon's rocket going across the screen like that. I mean, people might look back at this and go, oh no, look at that, it's so clunky. Or they may say, how did they know? Certain science fiction films have been extraordinary in their perception of what the future might possibly be. Close Encounters Stevens' Close Encounters still utterly enthralls me, as does Kubrick's 2001. And 2001 was 12 years ago. We don't know. We're guessing. But I think if you put a particular dilemma in that context, it can be really extraordinary.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.